artists aren't normal people by any means. Like normal people would not do what we do.
Ghost Cult Magazine welcomes in the great Tom from 20 Watt Tombstone. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, man, it's great to see you. Super stoked. You got lots to talk about and unpack about the band. Year of the Jackalope is the brand new EP that is out now with some astounding covers. I want to talk about all this stuff, but first things first, I know I sound probably like a broken record to all our viewers. We all do because we're all going through this global event together, this kind of mass pandemic slash psychotic break all at once.
Mm-hmm.
But I just don't want to lose that kind of humanity part about myself and about what Ghost Cult is. So, of course, I hope you, the band, your family and friends, coworkers, anybody is in one piece, healthy as can be, hanging in there as we go into pandemic year two. And also there's like a crazy winter weather apocalypse this week in the country also. So hopefully you guys are all safe.
Well, thanks, man. Yeah, so far, I mean, um, everybody's pretty good. I had two friends pass from COVID, which is a bummer, but um, other than that, like my wife is safe and well. I'm safe and well. My kids safe and well. Like our family is doing well. So I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Well, it's important, man. It's important. I talk to people every day. I'm thankful that I can still talk about music and I have this outlet. A lot of people don't even have an outlet. They're just existing right now, waiting for things to come back. There's a lot of people. I work remote. I always have the last few years since I left the corporate world. So not everybody can. I'm very sensitive to the fact that as much as I love music and I'm grateful to have new music and interesting people like yourself to talk to, it's a dumpster fire for everybody, you
Oh,
know.
it really is.
But on the good note, music, right? Thank goodness for music. Thank Satan, whoever you want to thank. Thank Riffs. Thank Matt Pike's shirtless body. Thank somebody. Thank Les Paul for making awesome guitars, and Jim Marshall for making amps, and Jimi Hendrix for ever being alive. Just thank everything for music, man. Like it's definitely saved my life this last little while. I'm sure it has for you too.
People need art, man. I mean, I have a buddy that called me a few days ago, and he was asking what our plans were to tour and stuff, and he's not doing great. Like it's gotten in his head. Because for a lot of us touring guys, like the touring thing is almost like an antidepressant for us. Like it's what makes normal life bearable, because most of us aren't normal people by any means. Like normal people would not do what we do. It just you know so for a lot of us, this has been really hard mentally, because even if we can find jobs and survive and do all that stuff, it's just the having that creative release to kind of make the rest of life uh, a little more bearable for us is really where a lot of us are suffering. I'm actually doing really good mentally because I have amazing support group at home. My wife is amazing. I've got a little dog that keeps me company all day. I mean, um, mentally speaking, I am doing better than most guys. But I talked to a buddy of mine the other day, and he was just like, I don't know when this is going to end. I feel like it's never going to end. And is this the end of music? And am I going to need a career change? He's like, I'm 36. Like, what am I going to do? And I'm like, dude, I'm 44. I feel your pain. Like, I don't want to change jobs either. But I told him, I think that art has always survived. It's always found a way to survive. And people need it, and as long as there's a need for it, which there will always be, um, I think it'll find a way. So as distressing as it may be right now, um, I think that's just going to make people need it more, honestly. That's just my take though. But
Nice, man. That was beautifully said. That's like a little bit of Jeff Goldblum in there too. A little like finds a way, with the hands. And yeah, we will find a way. Art is, we need the outlet. We need the escape. Ourselves, creative people need that outlet. And I think people, just everybody needs something to make it not hurt so bad. To put it in blunt terms, there's no way to better articulate it. We all need art and music and books and fantasy, and we need things.
Yeah.
We need these things. But yeah, man, thank heavens for riffs. Riffs have kept me going this whole last little bit, and new music to discover and cool people to talk to. So thank you for putting out a release during this madness. Um, you just not too long ago, you guys had a split, but this is really like the first new thing in a while that I think we got to sink our teeth into.
Yeah.
Year of the Jackalope. The Jackalope is such a cool idea of an animal in general. It just definitely personifies this batshit time. Although a
Oh yeah.
jackalope is not a bat, and no puns
Yeah.
and no puns about COVID with bats and things. None of that intended.
It just I don't know. We wanted to do something, but we were both broke from no touring, so obviously a full album release just wasn't doable. Like we couldn't really press CDs, we couldn't press vinyl, and with our fan base the way it is, like if we release another full record, like we have to do vinyl just because we sell more of that than we do of just about everything else. So we wanted to keep the costs low, but still do something because we wanted to feel like we wanted to feel useful, and this whole thing has kind of made us both feel um kind of useless in a degree because we're a touring band. Like, that's what we do. Like normally we don't have day jobs, that we just tour. um so to have that taken away just kind of made us feel kind of bored and useless. So we felt like at least some kind of digital release was the right thing to do. So um originally we were going to just release a single, and then we thought about it, we're like, let's do something fun and weird, let's do covers. The Just Got Paid by ZZ Top, that was a no-brainer. Like we already did that. So we just were both kind of like, that's a good one, a lot of people dig it, so let's do that. And then we were faced with what we were going to do for the other one, and we came up with all these different ideas, like, and we're weird, man. Like we like weird shit. Like we're all over the place. So like we were debating everything from doing like a Wu-Tang Clan cover to, like a Waylon Jennings cover. And we just kind of were like, is that going to be too weird for people? Are they not going to get it? So eventually I was listening to Chris Stapleton one day, and it just kind of clicked, and I was like, man, we could do that in like a super low gnarly tuning and put a ton of fuzz on it and make it cool. So we tried it, and Mitch wasn't really sold on it at first. He's like, I don't know, man, it's a country song, like, is it going to work? But the more we played it, the more it seemed to like fit and kind of conform to our style. And I don't know, people seem to dig it. A lot of people have told me that they were shocked that we picked, a mainstream country song, but I think we kind of made it our own, hopefully, and didn't suck too bad in the process.
It doesn't suck at all. I'm not a big modern country guy, so I actually had to go and seek the song out and listen to the original and A/B the two, and I love the track. It was a really clever choice. It really suits the band, like you said. And a good song is a good song. It could almost
Mhm.
a well written song could work in any key, could work in any. You could take a good body, the bones, like a car or a house. You could take the bones of a good song and make it anything.
Yeah.
I also think I would love to hear you guys do Wu Tang Clan and Waylon Jennings and anything else you want to. Um, yeah, ZZ Top, like you said, a no brainer. We can unpack that in a second. But the Stapleton track is great, man. It really is. I found myself surprised at how much I liked it, and even the original. I was like, okay, normally I wouldn't listen to this, but because if I like country, I'm going outlaw country or
Yep.
even like Farmageddon label bands, like very very underground, not well known as
Mhm.
could be. Um,
That's me too.
one of the festivals we've yeah, one of the festivals we've covered and followed here, it goes called is Muddy Roots in Tennessee, and they do like a cross between doom, stoner rock, psychedelic,
Yep.
outlaw country,
We have a lot
weirdo
of buddies
punk.
that play that.
Yeah,
In
man, I
fact,
know you do. I know you guys
goddamn
would be
Gallows.
brilliant. Yeah, Goddamn Gal is incredible. You guys would be brilliant if they ever got you down there. I know they're gonna try to come back. I don't know about this year, but the way things are going, but I'm hopeful. I know they've been very successful, and I'm hoping they're going to come back. But yeah, man, Stapleton, that would go over real well in an environment like that. I think people would totally dig it.
Yeah, he's, and I really hate pop country. But the two newer guys that I actually dig that aren't really pop country are Stapleton and Sturgill Simpson. Like
Of course,
those.
I feel like Sturgill Simpson is a guy that stoner rock guys in particular, or gals, or everybody
Well, he's a
really
psychedelic drug
gravitate.
guy. He's
Yeah,
his last record was, he was mad at his label and wanted out of his deal, so he just recorded a psychedelic rock record. That's pretty cool.
right.
But
Depending on your genre, that can either get you off a label or get you on a label.
mm-hmm. I gotta plug
But
my phone in.
yeah, no problem. We'll take a second.
All right. Yeah.
Plug her in.
My phone
I'm
is
gonna
not so hot.
Sip of coffee.
When we went to Europe, I got
No
a new
worries.
for Europe, and this one was meant to go bye-bye after that, but the phone didn't work in Europe, so I returned it, and then I decided I was going to keep this one, and then it's had it. It's been on like 8 tours now, and stepped on, dropped, left behind at clubs, all kinds of stuff. So it's seen better days, but I got it plugged in now. It should be all good. So
No worries, man. Tour life will ruin your technology stuff.
everything.
Yeah, I mean, clearly, I know you miss it, and obviously, again, super grateful you have this recording, and hopefully, at least in small ways, things will start loosening up, opening up as more people get vaccinated, as hopefully more people smarten up and chill. I know Wisconsin has had its struggles where you are.
Yeah, it's
keeping safe.
It's been wild here, man. Our state made a lot of national news and not in good ways for a while there. Some dude during COVID decided he was going to drive his boat from the lake onto the land into a crowded parking lot. So that made the news, obviously. And then, of course, like our governor putting the mask mandates in effect, like he got sued and overturned and all kinds of other stuff. And yeah, it's been kind of crazy. We've been in the news for a lot of odd stuff, but cases are down now. We're I think we're down to about 800 cases a day, so it's definitely getting better. The vaccine is rolling out here, so hopefully that means shows can happen safely soon.
Right on. I am, by the way, a fan of Wisconsin. I have been to the great state. And although it does seem sometimes like Wisconsin man could become a thing like Florida man.
Oh, dude. So I have an ongoing joke with a lot of people. I call it Wisco-Bama up here.
Yes.
And now, for the record, I love Alabama. Like, I have no problem with Alabama people, but there is definitely a stereotype that exists with a lot of people about Alabama. I don't think it's really true of Alabama as much as it's true of Wisconsin, in all honesty. I have a friend that lives in Mississippi, and he has actually asked me, what the hell is up with your state, man? So it's funny when the South is starting to ask you, like, what's your deal? I don't know. My buddy from Mississippi also thinks that the further you get north or south from the Mason-Dixon line, that's where the shit goes down. So, but yeah, Wisconsin is, it's a great place to live as long as you don't have to deal with people. We have some really good people here, but we have some crazies. We have some weirdos. We have a whole state full of Florida man, like you said. Someday you will see Wisconsin man on the news. I firmly believe someone out there has some goals to make the news, apparently. So
it's already happened, but and not to mention, other nefarious characters in American history we don't have to go into right now. But we do have, there are some iconic things about the place. And again, I've had nothing but great experiences there. Love you, cheese curds. Love the people.
You know what cheese
Everybody
curds
was
are? I
awesome to
love
me.
them. I usually have to
I know what
explain
cheese
what
curds
cheese
are,
curds are.
and they rule, and everybody should go have some. If you can't get them shipped to you, I don't know, go visit. You have to.
Hmm.
But yeah, there's that. I think, it's like, well, I was just talking in another interview about Pennsylvania. So it's like the same thing. Sorry, everybody. And so, Southern Americans, I love you. And I've loved my time in the South, and I nearly moved down South. But yeah, like all Northerners end up moving South sometimes. But yeah, there's just a vibe, I guess. Sometimes you scratch your head.
Hmm.
But I'm glad to hear things are getting better and improving. Hopefully, you guys as a two-man band, you guys can maybe do some gigs somehow outdoors, or small, start playing local club shows or something when it's safe, and maybe from there get back to the touring regimen.
Yeah, that's the plan. We'll see. I'm hearing that April will be when everybody has access to the vaccine. So if that's if that's true, we usually book tours about 6 months out. So realistically, the earliest given that information we would be able to tour would probably be October or November. So I guess we'll see. Just wait things out and be safe and hope for the best.
Right on, right on. And so, in the meantime, while life is going on, let's take a step back for a second. And how did we're about the same age? How did you get started in music, and how did that lead you to 20 Watt Tombstone?
Oh boy. Um, I'll give you as short a version as I possibly can. I grew up in a really religious, conservative family. Um, so I wasn't allowed to listen to a lot of the music that my friends were listening to. So I got very late access to a lot of very cool stuff because I had to sneak it or just discovered it late. Um, but like I guess my first introduction to like music that I really identified with was one of the elders in our church had an insane record collection. Like, and he was kind of like another dad to me. He was, excuse me, he was dad to my best friend. And so, like after church, I'd go to his house and he'd play records for me, and he'd have me listen to like Johnny Winter and Taj Mahal and Janis Joplin, Jimi Hendrix, and all that kind of stuff. So he would loan me like 4 or 5 records a week, and I would take those home. And since he was an elder in the church, my parents didn't really argue with it. So that was kind of my first introduction to music that really kind of grabbed me, because prior to that, I had only really listened to church music and stuff that my parents let me listen to. And it was just somewhat limited. So blues is really where I first kind of, I guess, like felt a connection with music. And then, through the 80s and stuff with bands like Van Halen and that sort of thing, like, the Hot for Teacher video, I always reference that because that was like the coolest thing I had ever seen, you know? But, uh, but yeah, I just, as a kid, it was hard to find music. Um, and then when I got to be a teenager, I just, kind of rebelled against my parents and just said, I'm going to listen to this stuff and you can't do anything about it. And played in bands over the years and snuck out on school nights to go play bars with, bands I had in high school with older guys. And um, eventually it just, I wasn't really good at anything else. Like I had all these other jobs and I was always getting fired because I wasn't good at it or whatever. And I just started playing gigs more, and I noticed I was making better money playing music than I was with any of these other jobs. So I just thought, like, someday I want to do this. Um, I didn't have a lot of support. I didn't have a lot of people telling me that I could do it because my parents, obviously, parents want their kids to have a secure, future with, job security and that sort of thing. So like they weren't real thrilled. But one day I was working at a guitar shop and I was like kind of sort of like, I don't even want to call it touring because it wasn't touring, but I was traveling and playing shows. Um, but my boss yelled at me and I had a really bad day at work, and he was just being really, really nasty. And I walked out of there and I was like, I'm just going to play music for a living. And that was kind of the moment I decided to do it. And it was really rough for a while. Like, it wasn't something that I like hopped into and it was like, oh, this is super easy. Like, it took a really long time to be able to, not live on ramen noodles. But and then my son came and lived with me, and then that kind of complicated things a little more because I had to be a full-time dad. So things had to change a little bit there, but but at that point my family kind of got on board, and it was a little easier to show them that it was a real job and not just a hobby. And my son has been really supportive. My wife now is awesome. Like, she's super supportive. My parents are supportive now. They kind of get it, but yeah, it was a long road up until this point of just kind of sticking with it, I guess, and not giving up. But like I said, I wasn't really good at anything else, so this was like the only thing that really clicked for me. It was like, once I started doing it, I knew that this is what I had to do. And my band's not the best band in the world. Like, we are not the most talented guys in the world. We are not the best band there is, but we love what we do and we work really hard at it. And I think that people can see that we love what we do. So even if they don't identify with the music, they see that, it's a part of us and it's honest. And I think that's why it's been able to do as well as it has, is just because it's fairly honest. And I think most people can identify with that.
I dig it, man. I dig it. Yeah. I think part of the key to having survived and made a career out of this is the music is really good. But there's also, like, you guys have kind of created a little bit of a mystique because there's not an abundance of material, but your name is out there. You continue to promote yourself well, market yourself well. You're very savvy at marketing and social media, album artwork, all these things I think have worked, creatively in your favor.
We try. I mean, I've really tried to look at bands that I like and just see what they're doing and see why I like them. And, I've had a lot of people like tell us, that they love, how we do merch, and they ask me for advice on how to do merch and all this stuff. And I always tell them the same thing. I'm like, when I was a kid growing up, the things that made bands interesting to me were like the visuals, like, say what you want about Kiss, whether you like them or hate them, they had great album covers, and all of their albums came with extra stuff. They came with stickers, they came with comic books, they came with all that stuff. And that, I think that was really kind of an instrumental thing for those guys at the time, because nobody else was doing it. So we try to do a lot of, visual stuff. Like, our game plan for merch is every 6 months we have a new t-shirt design. Doesn't matter if we have new fans or not, because our plan is, while we're branching out to other people and trying to sell our music to, a new crowd, we want the old people who have hung with us the whole time to get something new. Because my biggest gripe with a lot of the bands that I love is, like, I go to their shows and they got the same shirt that they had 4 years ago, and it's like, I already have that. Now, some of it's overpriced or whatever, but if I'm at a show and, they have a cool new shirt, I will absolutely buy it. It's, if you're a fan of the band, usually you want that new thing, and the more appealing the imagery is on those, the more apt you are to buy it. We have never really done a one color t-shirt ever. I think we did one, like, second year we were a band. And some bands can do that. Like, if you're a black metal band, you got a black and white tee that is pretty much par for the course and it's going to sell. But, like, I think that having more than one color and having, you know, cool images and stuff that you really work hard to invest your time and money into, I think it pays off because it's a product that shows you did the work, you know. And we have been really lucky to work with an amazing artist pretty much through all of this. We have a couple other guys that we work with now too, but Dan Biesel has been with us since the day we started this band. And he's done probably 25 t-shirts for us. He's done posters, he's done, you know, hat designs, he's done, you know, album designs. Like he's, you know, at one point we were talking about doing a 20-watt comic book to put in the next record. So I mean, he's really been instrumental in kind of the branding behind all of this too, because he has a certain style that fits what we do. But yeah, the big thing for us really is like having interesting merch that looks good, that people don't mind paying for. And when we come out with a new thing in 6 months, they go, hey, I already have 30 shirts, but I don't have this one, so I'm going to buy that. You know, so merch is a big part of what we do, and it's something we really focus on very heavily. And during COVID, merch helped me make my house payment. Like it was definitely, you know, the difference between making my bills and, you know, and not making them. So yeah, I think merch is super important, you know, and having good merch.
Right on, right on. We will tag Dan and anybody you want to shoot me a list offline.
Okay.
We'll tag and share everybody your shirt makers, your sticker printers, your links to your stuff, of course, for your to buy your sweet merch. Um, for real, man, it's definitely helped the band for sure. What can you know? What's on the horizon? Obviously, you know, hoping this thing opens up and you guys are going to tour. Are you writing new material for a new release? So an EP, a full length, something for the future?
Yeah, we have pretty much a whole album, uh, music for a whole album done. Um, we're just in the process of writing lyrics. So during COVID, we did a lot of writing and demoing stuff in the basement, and we were kind of feeling the pressure already because a lot of reviewers with the new EP, they've kind of dropped little comments here and there like, this is the first thing these guys have done in a really long time. What have these guys been doing? You know, surely they have more than this during COVID, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, you know, it really made us realize like, man, we gotta release this record this summer. Like it's gotta come out. Like, and the problem is like, we got really distracted with touring. Like we put, actually, I won't say this often, but we put way too much effort into touring and not enough effort into writing. And you know, we were doing 150 to 200 shows a year, but it's been 4 years since we released a record too. So it's definitely time. So the plan is these 8 songs we have right now, plan is to wrap them up, make them a little tighter, and then hopefully release a full record in summer.
All right, we'll be looking out for that. We'll talk again, hopefully by that time, and or after that time. But yeah, I hear you. You know, I think also the maybe the misstep of bands was to the impatience of like, I don't know if the world is ending and if I have a career after this, I better rush my album out. And again, no disrespect to anybody who chose not to put out any music at this time. A lot of bands feel like if they can't go hand it to somebody over a merch table, they can't go make a record right now, or they can't go sell a record right now. And I totally understand and appreciate that. But also at the same time, I think maybe there was a deluge of records in the fall, and now bands are like, well, now what? It's out and it's over, kind of, unless I make a video or do something creative. Not everybody likes live streaming. So, like, what else do you do to promote a record merch? So I think write more music. So I think, you know, there's a weird dichotomy going on with a lot of bands. Like they're not, you know, what's the right next move? And the only advice I ever say is do the right next move for you and don't look at what someone else is doing unless they're particularly successful and you're modeling yourself after them.
Yeah, it's a rough time. Like, I don't think anybody really knew how to approach this in the beginning. So everybody's kind of learning and adapting as we go. So, I mean, there's really no, in my opinion anyway, there's no really wrong way, to do this, because it's all new. It's new territory.
Right on. We're all going through this together. But on a positive and upbeat note, as we wind this up or down, whichever direction, I want to give you back your day. Let's talk about that awesome sweet beard of yours and how can everybody get one like it?
It's actually a little out of control because I haven't had a beard trim since my wedding, which was, yeah. Yeah, it's been since my wedding. So yeah, this is COVID beard technically. I got married in October in 2019, so it's it hasn't been cut since then. And I've been debating if I should go get a trim, but I'm just too lazy. But you have quite the sexy beard going yourself too. You're no slouch in the beard department.
Thank you. You took some work, man. I didn't believe in myself. I had a crisis of beard confidence for a long time. I didn't think I could grow any kind of reasonable foliage on the face. And now I have. And I feel like a much better and complete person. Any of my other deficiencies are still all there, but the beard is
covers
rocking.
up a lot.
It.
It's like I told you before, it's I'm like a 6 under here. I'm like maybe a 5 or a 6. But the beard gives me at least like a +4. So, yeah, it nowadays, I mean, I started growing my beard before the apparently beard popularity thing happened. And so I've actually gotten some people that are like, yeah, man, why are you trying to be a hipster? I'm like, dude, I'm 44 years old. I'm way not a hipster. I had a beard pretty much since I was 15. Like this is not a trend thing. But I don't know. A lot of it's just laziness, When you're on tour all the time, it's hard to shave. So it just when we started the band, I had a beard probably about your length, and it just kept getting let go, and then finally I was like, well, it's this long now. The funny thing about beards though, and growing them out, and you can attest to this, is it's just like growing hair on your head too. You get to a certain length and it just looks like shit no matter what you do with it. You get that weird like beard cowlick thing where it's like all growing one way for like a month, and that's usually where most people shave it off. They're like, man, this sucks, this looks stupid. You just got to power through that, man. You got to power through it. And then once you get through that weird phase, it'll start to lay flat. And I don't know. Mine is still kind of wild. I wake up some mornings and, I look like a serial killer. I got like beard on top of my head. But yeah, lots of product, lots of grooming, put lots of beard conditioner in it so it looks sexy. And
share some tips with us, brother. Share some brands, share some. The best I've got going on here is I have a sandalwood comb that I keep the tangles out. That helps. It seems to help it out. But more than that, I'm at a loss. So if you've got any sweet advice or brands you like, let us know. We'll share them.
I mean, I'm kind of all over the place. I don't really have like a favorite. Like I always like to support local guys. So if like a local guy's making beard product, I'll usually just go pick some up and try it for a while. My beard is really fine. It's kind of like head hair. But so mine is a little different. So if I use oil too much, it looks like I'm eating greasy food all the time. It just looks shiny and gross. So like in wintertime, I'll use oil just because, here in Wisconsin, we have our heat on all the time because it's 40 below. So like my beard gets dry. But like in the summertime, I'll use like a conditioner kind of thing that's a little less oil. But yeah, I try to buy local for the most part with that stuff. There's a couple of companies that make some really good stuff. The shave grave before shave stuff is pretty decent. Like that's usually like if I run out of something and I need to get something online, that's usually what I'll go with, just because I like that company and I like the people that run it. They're, they're pretty decent people. But but yeah, combing it out, taking care of it, making sure that it's conditioned every once in a while isn't a bad thing.
There you go. And it doesn't interfere when you play, right? It
Oh,
enhances it.
it interferes with everything. Mainly eating soup or cereal. Those are the two things it interferes with the most. There's some other stuff it interferes with that I probably shouldn't talk about on here, but you get the idea there. But yeah, eating in general, I have a little trick I like to do. I'll share it with you. What you can do when it gets long, if you want to eat soup and you don't want to make a mess and you don't care if you look ridiculous, tuck that shit in your shirt.
In the shirt. That's it. That's what I used to do with my hair back in the day. I didn't cut my hair once for like 12 years, and I used to that rat tail ponytail, multiple ringleted scrunchied ponytail was in the back of my hoodie or my shirt for a long time. Same thing in the front, probably. All right,
Gotta do what you gotta do.
you got to do what you got to do. Maybe a 20-watt Tombstone beard product in the future, or a set. Maybe I like that Grave Before Shave brand. Maybe they'll help you.
Yeah, good
But
idea.
yeah, man. Tom Jordan, 20-watt Tombstone. It has been awesome hanging out with you and getting some life advice and getting some beard advice and getting some music industry advice from you. Super appreciate you, man. Year of the Jackalope is out now. I urge everyone to get it. There'll be links in the description of this chat. Tom, thank you so much, man. And I'm looking forward to that new music.
Thank you for having me, man. Always a pleasure. Dig what you do as well.